The proportions are fairly good for the most part. One of the only things that I would adjust on her, I got to give you something here, right? I can't let you leave empty-handed, James. But one thing that I'd maybe suggest is making her leg a little longer. So her knee is maybe a little too high to where it needs to be. If we look at the shoulder to shoulder relationship in terms of the angle there, we look at the breasts. Okay, the breasts are fairly well in check. But then down here, you'll notice that the hips start to change their angled alignment, right? And it's only by a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's those little things that you can catch that really do count and allow you to create an artwork that isn't just good, but friggin' brilliant. So what I'm going to suggest here is when you are drawing a character, particularly from this point of view, the top-down three-quarter view, what you want to imagine is that these perspective guidelines, which is really what we're working with here, are actually fanning out in this trajectory. Okay. And it might even be better to, let's say that you wanted the hips to be positioned there. Well, you'd simply go back across from this point and make sure that they were aligned. Next up, we'll do the legs. Make sure those knees are where we want them to be. So once more, for example, let's say the knee was here on this side. Well, you'd pull this guideline back and the knee on the opposite side would land around about there. Same with the bottom of the feet. Right? Now, if we were to continue this foot down and around, and I'm thinking just based upon the judgment my own eyeballs are making, I'm going to say that maybe we would want her foot to land around about here. Okay. And if that were the case, well, we would take the point where her foot leads into her lower leg, and we would pull back the perspective guideline to, I'm going to say, we'll lift it up a little higher here, around about there. All right. And that's going to work out just fine. Now, the thing is that if we were to lead these guidelines all the way back to the horizon, going back to our understanding of perspective, we would see that these guidelines would ultimately converge to a single point. That's right. They would ultimately lead to a vanishing point. And so if I was to demonstrate that for you right now, let's say that this is our, that's going to be our horizon line. All right, I'm just going to hold down shift here to make things easy. Say that that's our horizon line. And then we're going to have some guidelines that we pull off of it, like so. Right? And then we draw our character down here. And you'll see that all we've really done on this previous example is we've shown where those guidelines intersect the body. And then we simply draw in the rest. And there we have it. See how the legs align with one another, where the feet land in relation to each other according to the perspective that we're showing the character in? That's really what's happening. So all of this stuff, it connects together. It's all related. And when you can start to join the dots together, it makes a heck of a lot more sense. It seems like everything is just, there's a billion subjects that you've got to learn in order to really master the art of comic book illustration. But you can categorize those subjects into larger buckets. And then the idea is that you get a wholesome overall understanding of what those buckets consist of, and you're able to move on once you've mastered them effectively, at least to the point where you're able to use them for what they're meant for. And this hand, you've done a fairly good job. I think that as long as we resize this leg and just make it a little longer, this arm will check out and it'll be all good. I will just say, I'll point it out once again, notice how on the blocks here we've got these divisions that have been made, right? Now, what we ideally want to do is make sure that the pecs are following the same angle as those divisions in the box. And I remember actually in the demonstration, even mine weren't entirely aligned. So I'll let you get away with that one, James, because I made the same boo-boo there. But yeah, really awesome stuff. Well done for sticking with it, James. You should be proud of what you've accomplished here.